This episode of Beyond Your Why is brought to you by our Why app. Head over to whyinstitute.com to take the Why app so you can discover your why today. Knowing your why is the essential first step in having the clarity to move forward faster and have a bigger impact. Welcome to Beyond Your Why podcast, where we go beyond just talking about your why and actually helping you discover and then live your why. And so if you're a regular listener, you know that every week we talk about a particular why, one of the 9 whys, and then I bring on somebody that has that why so we can see how their why has played out in their life. So if you haven't yet discovered your why, go to whyinstitute.com, discover your why, and then come back and listen to this podcast. So today we're going to be talking about the why of contribute. To contribute to a greater cause, make a difference, add value, or have an impact in the lives of others. So if this is your why, then you are somebody that yearns to be part of a greater cause, something greater than yourselves. You don't want to be the cause, rather to contribute to it in a meaningful way. You want to make a difference in the lives of others in an organization or a cause that you believe in. You love to support others and relish the success of the greater good, the company's growth, and the victory of the team. People with this why seek to add value in all that they do, to do their part and help in whatever way is possible. You are often behind the scenes looking for ways to make the world better. When you show up in a more public forum, it's often to trumpet a message or support a movement. People with this why are go-to people, the ones you look for when you need help with just about anything. They make reliable and committed teammates and are often found in all areas of athletic, performing arts, and cause-based nonprofits. You use your time, your money, your energy, your connections to add value to other people. Now, today, I've got a great guest for you. His name is Dr. Charles Livingston. He goes by Dr. Charles. He is a Board Certified Chiropractic Physician who has certifications in wellness and nutritional response testing. Dr. Charles received his Doctorate of Chiropractic, graduating with honors from the world-renowned Palmer College of Chiropractic. He has studied a variety of healing techniques and has spent thousands of hours researching nutrition, exercise, and weight loss. He is an adoring husband, loving father, and faithful friend whose ministry is to create his business around servant leadership and kingdom-based principles. He is an entrepreneur at heart who owns FitBody, Zionsville, PerfectOrigins.com, supplement company, and a coffee bean company called Lifeboost Coffee. He has a very strong passion for creating business and helping business owners succeed with his creative business strategies, which has led him to opening a small boutique agency for 7 to 8 figure brands who need help with customer monetization. Dr. Charles, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Gary, thanks. I like in my my bio, you said an enduring husband.
I said enduring. Adoring.
Yeah, I think every husband probably says that at one time or another. I'm enduring.
So maybe we need to
enduring.
Maybe we need to add that to your bio, huh? Adoring and enduring. So you and I know each other from our mastermind group, and one of the things I know about you and have seen with you is you go out of your way to help everybody. I mean, if somebody needs something, they come to you. And whether that's an adjustment in the middle of one of our courses, or whether that's meeting or being introduced to somebody, you seem to always volunteer to do that. Is that just something innate in you?
You know, it is. I've always, as far back as I remember, I've always been that way. I never knew why, but I've just been driven to help any way that I can.
And so now you're working on most of your time, I'm guessing, is on your Lifeboost Coffee. Is that correct?
Yeah, a lot of it is for sure.
So tell us about it. What is Lifeboost Coffee?
So our goal with Lifeboost is to be the healthiest cup of coffee possible. So like 80% of the population drinks coffee, right? Problem is that a lot of the coffee out there, since coffee is so popular, is what they call a cash crop. And cash crops, in order to grow so much of it, needs to be, sprayed with all kinds of pesticides and stuff on, big farm lots. So it kind of almost, it's just like anything else. When you get that large, corners get cut to serve the masses.
Okay.
So but the problem is that you sacrifice, your health for some of that as well, because, if coffee gets sprayed with pesticides, ultimately that's going in your drink, you'll be drinking it. And especially concentrated form, because you take the coffee beans, you grind them, you concentrate them to, pour hot water through them. So some of those toxins are going to get in the cup. And it's not the fact that you drink one cup that's going to hurt you. It's the fact that you drink bunches of cups over time. So you kind of hit a threshold before you start having health problems. And then combine that with all the other toxins from the air, from the water you drink, from everything else. It's just one extra thing that can harm your health later. It's like a snowball, right? It just builds and builds and builds. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, my stomach is messed up. I don't know why. Well, there's multiple reasons, not just one, but highly acidic coffee is definitely a cause of that. So our goal with Lifeboost is, one, to have a super healthy, low acid coffee that people with digestive issues can actually drink. But also on top of that, since coffee is so ritualistic, and it's something that I love having my coffee. I look forward. It's like the one thing I look forward to every single day, to just stop, take a moment, make my coffee. And that first sip is always magical, right? And along with that, people will listen to the news or watch social media, as that's always filled with, negative images, negative fear-based messaging. And the goal with Lifeboost is to be more of you want to start your day off on a positive note. So we really focus on that, as well as being sustainable to take care of the farmers and the environment and the wildlife as well. So we focus on the way we grow it. We focus on positive messaging, and we focus on giving people a very healthy cup of coffee to start their day with.
What do you mean by healthy cup of coffee? Because health is more than just not harming you. Health is more of an active state. So how do you define healthy coffee?
So healthy coffee is grown to maturity. It is, one of the things we have our coffee is it's shade grown, meaning that it is grown under the rainforest canopy, which allows the coffee to mature naturally, which also brings in a natural pesticide and insecticide, which are birds. So when you protect the rainforest and you grow coffee in a rainforest environment, it's the shade grown, you're providing this canopy for all the other ecosystem and the wildlife to naturally, let that circle of life happen, and they'll take care of the insects, right? So problem is that if you're doing mass scale of coffee, they have not found a good way to actually do that. So I focus on the small percent of the population that is really focused on wanting to be healthier. And so I'm giving them a solution.
So coffee at its core is healthy for us.
Yes. So coffee has got a lot of antioxidants, polyphenols, and chlorogenic acids in it, which are, through research, has been shown to be really good for you. So there's a good side and a bad side to coffee too, which we can talk about the dark side later if you want.
So there's both sides to it, but healthy for you. Lifeboost is about the experience. Lifeboost is about the people that are behind the scenes, and Lifeboost is about giving you something that won't harm you.
Yeah. So our tagline is, so one of the things we also talk about is, obviously positive messaging, but also helping others, right? Which is why we want to take care of our farmers and our wildlife and our ecosystem. So it's elevate others, energize yourself, because we all drink coffee to give us that little boost in the morning, right? So elevate others, energize yourself, and excel in life. So that's kind of our tagline: elevate, energize, and excel.
I love it. And I love your coffee. So that's a huge plus. So let's get to thinking about this for a minute. Why you're a chiropractor, you've been involved in supplements, you've been involved in building businesses. Why coffee? Why did you get into coffee? You could have picked anything. Why coffee?
You know what? That is a great question. I didn't even start drinking coffee till I was like 30 years old. And I started with the Starbucks foofy drinks, full of sugar and milk and, all the stuff that's not really good for you, but makes coffee taste good. Yep. So that's how I started. And then all of a sudden, Dave Osprey and Bulletproof Coffee came out, and I got completely fascinated by everything that he was saying. So I started doing that, right? And I started doing that while while I had my supplement company. And then all of a sudden I was like, you know what? I really love coffee. I fell in love with just the ritual and, how I felt when you made like a quote unquote a bulletproof coffee with like butter or heavy whipping cream in it, because they have health properties. And when you use like that, when it's heavy whipping cream or butter, you don't have the lactose in it. So it doesn't jack your stomach up or mess with your stomach and like lactose does. So lactose intolerant people can actually drink it that way. But there's so many healthy fats in there that it just satiates your appetite and it helps your brain to focus better. And I absolutely loved how I felt. So I just fell in love and started doing research on it. And then I was like, I think I would like to have a coffee company. And literally within the next week, I had this company come to me and be like, hey, we want to put our supplements in your coffee. And I was just like, you know what? I don't think it's a good idea. They would taste terrible because, some of these supplements are pretty bitter. But send me your coffee. Let me try it. And they sent me their coffee to small farms in Nicaragua, and it was phenomenal. I was like, this is the best coffee I've ever had in my life. And they weren't really doing a good job with their marketing. I was like, let me, give me my own line of coffee. I'll create my own brand. And that's how Lifeboost was formed.
Wow. So is coffee to you more about what it does for you health-wise, or is it more about what it does for you in connecting with other people?
So it's both. First, yes, health, because if, my whole thing, and this is what I used to tell my patients, is health is one of the most important aspects of your life. Everything that you do in your life revolves around your health. You name it, it revolves around it, whether it's your spiritual life. If you are sick and feeling awful, your spiritual life is going to suffer. Your emotional life is going to suffer. Your friendships and wanting to go out and be with other people, that's going to suffer if you don't feel good. So it's like, put your oxygen mask first, put on your oxygen mask first, right? Yep. So that's how I think of health. Take care of yourself, be as healthy as you possibly be. So if this is something you drink every single day, make sure that you spend some extra money, because you're either going to pay now for it or you're going to pay later, and all your health bills and all the drugs and medications that you have to be on in order to sustain a very low quality of life, right?
Yep. That was the health part. What about the connection part?
So the connection part, there's nothing I like better than going to a coffee shop, sitting down, having a cup of coffee with somebody and just talking life or business. Business meetings happen over coffee. If you look at what Starbucks has created in that experience during the day, you go there for meetings, you can go there to go work and just sit there, have your cup of coffee and just enjoy yourself and enjoy those around you. And it's something that people have in common, because 80% of the population drinks it.
Yeah. And so for me, from my perspective of knowing you and what I've seen with you and my experiences with you, to me, I see that it's connection through coffee. Right? Yes. You connect to people through coffee. Even in our events that we have together, that we're at together, you're the guy out there getting coffee. Hey, what can I get for you? I'm going here. What do you want me to bring you? And you walk in with a whole box full of coffees for everybody. And it's connecting through coffee.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And people do that in their life out, in their general life, is they sit down and have a cup of coffee with somebody, or they connect to themselves, or they connect to others, or they, relationships are formed over a cup of coffee.
Exactly.
And you've just furnished them with something that not only won't harm them, but will help them.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so what has it been like for you having a coffee company? Has it been what you expected?
Yeah. Once you get down to the nuts and bolts of it, it's pretty intricate. Coffee now is the new wine. You have all these wine connoisseurs and all the different varieties of, grapes and types of wine and ways that it's made. Coffee is the same way. Tons of different varietals. There's like the more bright, fruity, floral types of coffee from Ethiopia and Africa. Then you've got your more dark, rich, chocolatey type of coffee that most of us have grown to love, which is more your Central South American. Right. So it's just, there's all different kinds of flavors. And once you get your palate up to speed with that type of stuff, you start to notice a difference. Just like wine. Like first time I had wine, I was like, this all tastes the same besides white and red wine. Right. But as you start to drink more of it and your palate becomes more refined, you start to notice a difference. You have a higher appreciation for it.
Yeah. And, for those of you that are listening that don't know Charlie, he's super fit, super healthy. His wife is as well. She's into all kinds of fitness challenges and contests. And so you guys are all about not only talking it, but living it. Is that right?
Yes. And I'm going to put a caveat to that because I am a very big believer in 80-20. When it comes to health, I think that also, second caveat, depending on where you are at in your health journey, but for most people, it's like I tell them, 80% good, 20% bad, because our society is linked emotionally to coffee or to food. So I don't think there's any problem with eating, donuts or baked goods or pizza every once in a while. Because one, that's another way to connect with other people is around food. And two, I'm very big in teaching people that there's a law that I always talk about to my patients and my clients. It's called the law of adaptation. So if you don't use it, you lose it. So if you go completely vegan for a long period of time, you lose the enzymes that process meat. So whenever you have meat, guess what's going to happen? It's going to jack your stomach up. And, now you can get those back, but like I just, because the default environment that we live in is toxic, you have to give your body the ability to adapt to that because you're not always going to live in a bubble. And nobody ever talks about that for some reason. So I'm like, you know what, 80-20, 20% bad. I'm going to enjoy my life. I'm going to, enjoy the people I'm with, and I'm going to enjoy some unhealthy, great food. As well as 80% of the time, I will eat healthy for that 20%, right? At the time that I don't.
I love that. I totally agree with you. You can't be perfect all the time. It's no fun even.
It isn't.
I mean, there's so many other things to enjoy, experiences to have with people, restaurants to go to, that if you were perfect every meal, and maybe we're just rationalizing, but I completely agree with you because I don't eat perfect all the time either. And
yeah, but I mean,
you don't even want to.
Yeah. So when you travel, if you go to Europe, let's say, what is one of the first things you want to do when you get over there? Oh, you want to go to you look up restaurants. Oh, you get recommendations for food. It revolves around food and drink, right? So
exactly.
If you think about your trips that you take, a lot of it revolves around food and drink. So I want to eat good. And then when I want to have the opportunity to, branch out and try other delicacies from other countries or from new restaurants, I want to have that ability too. I want to have that option.
Totally agree with you. So let's talk about Dr. Charles for a minute. Tell us a little bit more. How did you get into chiropractic? So take us back to when you decided, I think I'm going to be a chiropractor.
Yeah.
So what was that about?
I think it stemmed from when I was little. Everybody used to say, Dr. Livingston, I presume. All right. Because my last name is Livingston. So I heard that like 1,000 times. I'm pretty sure just pre-programmed me to be a doctor of some type. So then when I would go out, I would go to see, if I ever got sick, I would go to a medical doctor and then I would ask him questions. So I was like super into health, even from a younger age. But the answers they gave me, it would not, like, I was like, that's not the answer. I know that there's a deeper answer than, that it was all symptomatic based. Oh, well, it's, yeah. So they would just give me, they would not really give me a crystal clear answer on health. It would be more about the disease and the sickness. And I was like, you know what, there's more to this. So, I was in school, the guidance counselor was like, you know what are you interested in? So he gave me this giant, back in the day, we'd have internet, right? So they gave me this, 1,000-page career book. Look through this and find your career. So as I was flipping through, I was looking at all the different medical fields and I ran across chiropractic, and their philosophy just resonated with me very well. It's a very holistic point of view. So at that point, I did more study. And when I had the opportunity, like a year or so later, I went and I shadowed a chiropractor, and I absolutely fell in love with what he was doing. Everybody would come back super happy, like, oh my gosh, I don't know what you did, but that completely fixed my back pain, or they had a cold or something, they would get adjusted. And because an adjustment affects your nervous system directly, it would just help them heal faster. And I was completely fascinated by that. So any type of like health problem, like I was in a small town I grew up in a small town, and the chiropractor there, he was like a general practitioner. So, a lot of people would just go to see them for all kinds of health problems, and he would help them without any drugs and surgery. I just thought that was remarkable, that the body has its capability of healing itself just as long as you're removing the nerve interference, right? Because your spinal column houses your spinal cord, which controls your entire body because it's connected to your brain. So it's like a communication channel. So if you get any scar tissue or what they call a pinched nerve, it causes your body to malfunction. And the analogy they'd always use is, putting your foot on a water hose and watching the water trickle out. And you remove your foot, guess what? You have full flow of the water. Mm-hmm. And that was the example they'd use for the nervous system. Just remove the interference, the body will take care of itself.
Why was that so exciting to you?
Because it was the least invasive. I hated taking drugs. I hated the fact that, this will make you better, but you have all these potential side effects. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know. I've just always been, I've tried to avoid that stuff as much as possible. There is necessity. I just think nowadays, it's been way too commercialized, there's a lot more that goes into it than just actually healing the person.
Mm-hmm. So what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
I mean that when you have some of the most powerful companies in the world controlling this, they dictate the type of care and they dictate,
medication.
You got insurance involved, you've got, big pharma involved, you've got all these giant companies. And just like anything, the bigger you get, the more powerful you get. A lot of times when you're a public company, you're more into what you got to do to keep the shareholders happy than actually, the over picture.
So for you, chiropractic became the best way to have a bigger impact in people's lives without taking them off course and giving them something else they have to deal with.
Exactly.
Awesome. And so you were a chiropractor for how long?
Oh my goodness. So I practiced for 5 years.
And then
I honestly, my best friend from high school, I went to chiropractic school, and he went and started working online while I was in chiropractic school. And by the time I was out of chiropractic school and $100,000 in debt, he was already a millionaire. So I'm like, what did you do? So I practiced for 5 years because I absolutely loved practicing. My problem is that, one, I didn't like being married to an office because I had this fire inside me that I wanted to travel and I wanted to connect with others and just go on a personal growth journey and do masterminds and events and things like that. I just felt like I could have a bigger impact doing that than just staying in an office, seeing person by person by person, if that makes sense.
For sure it does. Yeah, when you're in your little environment, you can have an impact, but how do you multiply that to where you can have how can you spend your time having a bigger impact, right?
Yeah.
And so you found that internet marketing helped you with that.
Yeah. I started with, I've done a ton of research in exercise and weight loss. And, that's something I was always helping my patients with. And so I created an ebook, and this was before Kindle became popular. We were on a little platform called ClickBank back then. And I created an ebook, and, after we dialed in the marketing, it really took off. And we had hundreds of thousands of people, download the ebook and, use the methodology, and it really helped a lot, and got a ton of testimonials. I was like, wow, this is a really easy way to reach the masses and affect a lot of people.
And so then you parlayed that into some of the other things that you've done. What did you do after that? Kind of give us the background of Dr. Charles. So from there you help people with an ebook to lose weight, and then started a supplement company after that?
Yeah. So the whole hook of my ebook was the liver. So the liver is not the most talked about organ because it's not very sexy, but it's one of your most important organs in your body. And it also is one of the key factors in your metabolism. So it helps with carbs and fats and proteins. It helps to metabolize all those. So if your liver, because your liver is also your blood detoxifier, everything runs through your liver to be detoxified. So what happens is over time, it starts to get sluggish and quote unquote clogged, and it just slows down the function. So what happens is that indirectly it can slow down your metabolism. So if you clean your liver and do things that add, help to clean your liver, help to give it building blocks that help of like herbs and minerals and vitamins that help to support liver health, you can actually bring that back and, make your liver healthier. Indirectly, it affects your metabolism as well. So from the ebook that taught that principle and talked about the foods that you could eat, and, because health is two ways, right? It's, you either add things that help you to be more healthy, or you take away things that are making you sick. So we talk about both ends of that. And then that just led to the creation of a supplement. So we parlayed the information product into a supplement called Liveling, which is a bunch of herbs like milk thistle and green tea extract and a bunch of different vitamins and minerals, all that work together synergistically to help your liver.
Oh, okay.
And indirectly help with metabolism and weight loss. Yeah.
And so then you started a supplement company to be able to deliver that. And I'm sure in this whole process, you learned an awful lot about marketing and connecting with people.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And so one of the things I know about you is you and connect with lots of people in lots of industries all over the world. If I need to find somebody, I could probably just call you and say, hey, Charlie, who do you know over here?
Yeah. I don't know. I just, something I just love meeting new people and, seeing, what they're about and what they're learning. And if like you look at my personality type, one of my characteristics is I'm a learner, a knowledge hoarder. So I love just learning things and, questioning and trying to make sense of everything and then connecting them, in my brain just to make things, because there's a lot of overlapping patterns that you see with this type of stuff. And then whenever I talk to people, the first thing that's running through the back of my mind is, how can I help them and what are they looking for? So when they talk, I can be like, oh, wait, yeah, I met this person who can do this for you, right? So it just like automatically just comes out. Like I don't even think about it now. It just comes out of me just from all the people that I've met.
Well, do you remember what I told you my vision was for you and what I thought as your coffee company takes off, which it already has, and it becomes something that you at some point probably won't have to have a lot to do with. Did you remember what I told you my vision for where I see you going would be?
Yeah, I think you told me that I needed to really focus on just being a connector for people.
Yes. You are like the ultimate connector. Everybody that I run into, oh yeah, Charlie introduced me. Oh yeah, Charlie introduced me. Well, the mentor for our mastermind, Randy, that's what he says. Oh yeah, Charlie brought him in. Well, for me, you helped me as well. The gal that I use now, I was in search for years. I've been in search of the right person to help me with my marketing and my strategy. And you connected me to that person who I still use today.
Yeah. Awesome.
Kara.
Yeah.
And so you are the ultimate connector and you love doing it. And it's how you have a bigger impact, right?
Agreed.
And so if that's what you did if you spent every day meeting, connecting, and sharing with people, how would your day feel to you?
Oh, I'd be completely fulfilled. I absolutely love that.
Exactly. And that to me is why I feel like coffee is your way to connect with people. Connecting with coffee. And it's just how you happen to do it. And by doing that, now you have to create something, and you have created something that is a healthy, and it's a win-win for everybody that's involved.
I'm trying to, man. I'm trying to.
Well, it sounds like that's what you have done, right? You're taking care of the farmers. You're taking care of the people drinking it. You're making sure there's no toxin. You're making sure it doesn't do damage. You're making sure that it's healthy. And then you supplement that with positive information and positive conversations and positive emails so that they're uplifted and they then want to go out and do more.
Yeah, it's I guess it's based off of the starfish principle. You ever heard of that?
No.
So the starfish, there's a story going around. I've heard it like multiple times throughout my life, but it's about this boy who's walking on the beach and there's just thousands of starfish that washed up on the shore. And he sees them all and he's like, oh my gosh. So he just like grabs them and throws them one by one into the ocean. And there was an old man, he was combing the beach or whatever there. And he was just like, what are you doing? he was like, I'm saving these starfish. This boy's like, I'm saving these starfish. And the old man's like, you're not going to be able to make a difference. Look, there's thousands of these. Then he looks at the old man. He's like, it made a difference to this one. He throws it in the ocean. Said it made a difference to this one. He throws it in the ocean. So one by one, he himself was just making a difference. So
love that. Love that. And you're doing it for more than one at a time.
I'm trying.
I know that you are. So why is it so important for you to connect with people? Why is it so important for you to connect them to other people?
Man, that's a great question. I don't know. I'm just like, because that's the way I would want to be treated. If I ever need something, I would hope that somebody would be able to do the same thing for me. So one of the things I always live by is the golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So I try to, be the example for that. If I have a gift of connection that I can share with people, I definitely want to do that. Use it to the best of my ability.
So for those of you that are listening and don't know Dr. Charles, you can kind of tell right now just by listening to his story and the direction that he's gone, that he can't put something out there unless it will help people. You can't sell me something that is not good, right? I mean, there's just not in your possibility for doing that.
No. Yeah. I feel terrible.
I mean, I know that you won't connect people if it's not a good match. You won't bring something to the market if it's not real, if it's not going to do good for people. And coffee has done that for you.
Yeah, it has. It's definitely been a platform that I've been able to use to help others.
And so what's next for Lifeboost? Where are you taking it?
Oh my goodness. So many different ways. It's I love just like sitting down and just, visualizing and dreaming where I can take this company, because it's such a vital, to me, coffee, like I said, it's such a vital part of our lives for the majority of the population. So there's, starting with coffee, and then, I get a lot of people asking me about Keurig pods, but one of the things we're going to be doing is a different mechanism besides the pods that I think is more convenient, and you can travel with it. And it's just basically putting coffee in tea bag. Whatever, I don't know why people never thought of this before, but we license the technology to be able to do that, and it tastes phenomenal. It's like the best cup of coffee. It's like a perfect cup every single time. And you literally just drop the tea bag in water, let it sit for 5 minutes, and you have a perfect cup of coffee.
That seems so obvious.
It does. I just recently found this technology, and I was like, why didn't anybody do this before? So we're getting ready to roll that out. We have a bunch of different flavor. People love flavored coffee as well. To me, I like to call it dessert coffee. 0 sugar, 0 calories, just satisfies your sweet tooth. So we have those. I'm looking into branching out into possibly teas or chocolate, different things like that. So I want Lifeboost to be not just coffee, but an all-encompassing, like, functional beverage brand, I guess would be the best way to.
So let's talk about that for a minute, because what you said is exactly kind of what I've seen and what I believe is that it's not so much just about the coffee, although you have a great coffee. It's about the experience and whatever it takes to allow you to connect to somebody or to yourself in a very positive way. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Yeah, because if it was just, I have to have coffee, I have to make the coffee, then that's all you would have. But You're saying, well, I think I want to try teas. Why would you want to get into teas?
Because there's a portion of the population who can't drink coffee or doesn't drink coffee, but they absolutely love tea. And tea is also another ritual, right? I mean, look at Asia. They've, got tea ceremonies, right? And even when I did a missions trip over to Morocco when I was in chiropractic school. And every place we went, the first thing they would do would just give us some Moroccan mint tea. And it was the most amazing thing ever.
Yeah. So
yeah, tea is definitely something I would love to get into, because I think it would also, a lot of people benefit from that, because tea's got tons of health benefits. They're made from different flowers and herbs and plants, and they all have health properties, right? So not just for the energy that it can provide from the caffeine, but also from, every plant herb has got different antioxidants or polyphenols or different health benefits with it as well.
So is it about the health or is it about the experience?
It's about both.
It's about both. So when you look at tea, you see a health benefit and you see a experience benefit.
Yeah. So one of the biggest things is it has to taste good, right? So that's one of the things we focus on as well is, healthy coffee that actually tastes good. Because a lot of times, healthy things get a bad rap that they don't taste good, like Brussels sprouts, right? At first, when you're a kid, it's like the worst thing ever is to eat Brussels sprouts. They're just very sulfury and right? But now it's like as you get older and your taste buds change, you start to appreciate something like that. So, but with this, it's a little bit different because it's like you want a great first impression. So we really focus on taste and the experience of like, wow, this is really something that I can keep doing all the time. It's good for me. And it becomes like a daily ritual.
So do you think people drink coffee and drink tea because it's healthy for them? Why do you think people drink coffee and tea?
I think that people drink coffee for energy. They don't really think about the health benefits because that's something that's fairly new. It used to be coffee was bad for you. You used to hear that all the time. Yeah. Coffee is bad for you. Coffee is bad for you. And then, and it's one of those things where, after the research, there's clearly a lot of great health benefits, but just like anything else in life, too much of something good is also bad. So it's like debunking that myth of coffee is bad for you, but also at the same time being transparent and just being like, and this is the other aspect that we're doing with Lifeboost too, that I'm going to circle around is that, if you're drinking way too much caffeine, the problem is that you can burn out your adrenal glands and you can get adrenal fatigue. So what do you do about that, right? So then my next phase next year is going to be talking about if you have adrenal fatigue, here's what you can do to help. And so we're creating like a functional beverage that helps with that has adaptogenic herbs in it, like Siberian ginseng and things like that help to rebuild and lower your stress levels and helps to rebuild your adrenal glands. So that way, my whole goal is to give you an end-to-end solution so you can have your cake and eat it too, right?
So will it be injected or infused or something into the coffee beans, or how does that work?
It'll be a powder. You just mix it in water.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you have your coffee and then you have your boost after that.
Yeah. So it's like a tea or a functional beverage of some type. You just add to water.
Kind of the 80-20 thing again.
Yep.
That's awesome. Well, Charles, I know we're going a little bit over time here, but what people are listening to this, they're saying, man, I want to try this coffee. I want to see what this guy's all about. How do I get a hold of him? How do I find this coffee? Where do they go to get it? How does all that work?
So it's as simple as going to www.lifeboostcoffee.com. And that's our website. So you'll see it there. We're going to be redoing it as well. The whole thing is like one of the biggest things I want to focus on is the customer journey and the customer experience. Not just about getting as many people to the site as possible, but making sure that everybody has an amazing experience. And one of the things I tell my customer service reps and what I call customer experience specialists is that, we are a yes company. So whatever the customer needs, the number one focus is to make it happen for them. And of course, the first thing that comes to mind is, but they'll take advantage of it. I'm like, yes, there's always going to be some people, but the majority of people are good people and they're not going to take advantage of it. And you can see clear as day when they are, right? And then you would just have a conversation with them. Be like, look, you've been here 100 times trying to refund this.
Yeah.
And then keep the bag, right? So different things like that. But that's a very small percent. So our refund rate right now is only like 1.2%.
That's awesome.
Which is insanely low. But that's because like our number one focus was taking care of the customer. We want to make sure that they have a good experience no matter what.
Before I let you go, I'm thinking that if I'm listening to this podcast right now and I hear about a chiropractor who has been able to start a coffee company from scratch and take it to the size that you are now, and I know it's quite large, how were you able to do that? What has been your key to success in being able to start from nothing and build it to where you are right now? How long has it taken you, and what advice would you give to other people that are trying to do something similar?
Yeah. Number one, it's about the people and the relationships you create. If you want to leapfrog something and, get somewhere fast, it's always who you know, not what you know. So that would be number one. Number two is that pretty much anything is solvable. You just need to figure it out. So you have to spend the time to think and think and think and come up with a solution. So there's that. And then three is just not to get overwhelmed and just take things one step at a time. That's how you eat an elephant, right? One bite at a time.
Yeah.
So, because when you think about creating this massive company of any type, it's overwhelming. Like, oh, I want to be $100 million company. Like, oh my gosh, I have no idea, because it's so overwhelming to think about. I've got this and this and this and this to do. But literally, it's just bringing your focus in, taking the time to just sit and think about it, set a plan in place, and just take it step by step.
Wow.
And enjoy the journey and the process over the end result.
Which is hard to do sometimes, huh?
Oh, it is. You just got to embrace. And that's where your grit comes in, right?
Yeah.
So you have to have a lot of grit to be able to push through things.
So
if you just look at it as, if you look at it from a positive angle and just know that you are learning and growing and just sharpening your saw as you do this, then it becomes more fun than like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. It's just all about your outlook on it.
It's amazing how many mistakes we make along the way, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
And you just got to laugh at them, right? You just got to laugh at yourself and think, oh my gosh.
You can't let that stuff take you down.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch your journey and see how when you told me how you're doing right now, and I was blown away. I wasn't expecting it to be quite as large as where you are right now. So you've done an awful lot of things the right way to be able to get there. And you think number one has been the connections that you've had?
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So how did you develop all of these connections? I'm listening to this and I say, yeah, that sounds great, but what does he mean? How do I do that? How have you developed the right? Do you have a process for figuring that out, or how has that worked for you?
Nowadays, it's super easy to connect with people, but the absolute best way to do it is just you go where the people you want to meet are, right? So for me, it's going to masterminds or business conferences or networking events. You'll always get farther being face-to-face with somebody, because it's that people want to do business with friends. So you create friends and you make an effort in creating relationships with them, because then, if you need something, they're going to help you out. Just like if somebody needs something from me, I'll definitely do what I can to help them out. And if I know them, if I've spent time with them face to face, you're more likely to do something with them or for them than if you just meet them online, right?
Mm-hmm. You're like the perfect example of the why of contribute, because you've used that contributing to somebody else as the basis really for everything that you've done. Your coffee, your connections, all of that has been a perfect example of how to contribute, add value, have an impact in the lives of others through your products and your lifestyle and your connections. And it's awesome to see. And so if you're looking to get the right, people that are listening to this, that Lifeboost is going to be something that you got to try for one, but it's going to be healthy and do and contribute to all the right things, right? And so, Charles, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for taking the time to be on the podcast. And I look forward to us staying in contact as we keep going on our journey.
Absolutely, my man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Charles. Take care.
Hey, take care, Gary.